Alright, in this video I will show you how you can get a specific YouTube channel content inside in a org file. Essentially, org is a mode inside Emacs, which is a mode which allows people to do so many stuff with the facility of different mechanism. In this video I'm going to show you on a org file inside Emacs how you can pull down any specific YouTube channel content in your org file, so you can view those content with your favorite player without going to YouTube. Am I clear? In this video, the goal is to pull down YouTube video content inside on a org file. Okay, so without further ado, let me show you what I meant if you haven't got it already. Okay, so let me get into my Emacs. See, this is a content, so as you can see from the text, how to get YouTube channel content, right? That's what I said. And it has two dependency. You are supposed to have installed YouTube DL in your system beforehand, plus there is a binary called JQ, okay, which will allow you to parse the JSON data while pulling up the YouTube content, okay, which will essentially going to be stored inside an org file. Okay, first thing, see, I have put these things, as you can see, this is the mechanism. YouTube DL-G -flat playlist, that's an argument. Then you have to pass the URL, then pipe it to JQ binary with the two flags R and J, and then this is the regex, which is basically filtered out the YouTube URL content along with the title. Okay, it's look cryptic, right? It is cryptic. If you are not familiar with regexes or JSON parsing, okay, so never mind the thing, but this is exactly what it is. Okay, so in this line it is basically matching with the pattern. Every YouTube video has got an ID, okay, and JQ binary will pass that ID and store it along the YouTube. YouTube.b is a common prefix to get. Okay, so I'm trying to deciphering the stuff so it will be easier why it is there. Okay, and title is again one of the JSON field which is parsing by the JQ binary. Okay, lastly it will pad it up with a new line. Okay, now you are supposed to have this section of code in the org file, okay, to make things work. Okay, now and top of the org file, this section should be present to be work, and this next section, you can see, you can give the name of the content what you are trying to pull down. Okay, And this is an important piece of code. This is, as you can see, it's clearly a code block which is a shell code block, and it is calling an async function which is true. Then the result of that async function would be put in output list. Okay, and see, this is calling this particular code block. You can see my cursor is hovering. It's called no web block. Okay, that has been written like that, so it has got, it explicitly tell you it's supposed to do, and it has to be given a parameter called yes. That means we are agreeing to that, and then it wrap up. Now you have to call that particular code block within the double bracket. Okay, as you can see, my cursor is hovering, right? So, and this is now, how do you do that? First of all, you need to get the URL of the video content from the YouTube to get it in your org file. Okay, now I have let me go to YouTube to get the video content of a specific channel. Okay, now let me go to YouTube. See, I have already opened a channel. It could be any channel to you of your liking. Okay, so this is the channel I'm subscribed to. So all I have to do, I need to hold on this particular, I copied it. Okay, then I head back to the file and then I paste it. Okay, you can see the structure in this particular section. Say here I run Linux plumbers video content. Okay, I've given a title like this, Linux plumbers video content. Then I give the URL of the, you can see the channel URL you need to provide in the URL section. Okay, all you have to do now you are all set to get all the video content in this particular org file. Okay, so all you have to do, Control C, look at the bottom of the screen. It is saying that evaluate this sh code block, which is Linux plumber video content, on your system. Yes or no? Yes, we want to do that. So what it will do, if I say yes, it will going to store initially the content of this particular channel, which will be specifically the ID and the title of this channel of each video. Am I clear? If I say yes right now, as you can see, it will going to write down the content in a form of YouTube URL and the title of each and every video of this particular channel. Okay, to be loaded in this org file. Let me show you how it works. If I say yes, look at the bottom of the screen. It says it wrote in a temporary file. Okay, there are so many video. Just give it a moment. You can see the result will appear. It is behind the scene, basically. Pull down all the content from that particular channel, and it will be certainly going to display you here on this particular org file. I pull down the content of this particular YouTube channel, and it has got so many videos of the previous Linux plumber conference videos, so it will take some time to pull down all this, so please bear with me. And my internet connection is not so fast or great like yours, so please bear some time with me to get the content right. So many videos are there, so it's basically pulling down all the video URL along with the title in this. See, it's done. Now I'm back to the org file where, see what it does. It fetch all the title and link with a hyperlink in this particular org file. You can see it fetch all the video from that particular YouTube channel into this particular org file, right? Super handy. On this any of this link, it will open up your default media where it can play these particular YouTube videos on the system, and you don't have to go to YouTube to see this. So this is a handy mechanism to get your favorite YouTube favorite player or open in a browser to see it. I believe I'm making it very clear. This is a mechanism, I'm stating again, this is a mechanism which will allow you to get YouTube video content inside a org file. Okay, and it will produce a hyperlink text or title embedded with the URL of the video content. So once all you have to have YouTube DL and JQ, okay, the JSON query binary. These two software has to be installed in your system beforehand. That means before trying this method, you have to have YouTube DL and JQ binary should be installed in your system. And you can see my cursor is hovering. This is the method. This particular block of code, let me highlight it for you. This particular block of code has to have in the particular org file, top of the org file, where you are supposed to make your content available, YouTube content available. Okay, and once that particular section is there, once this particular section is there on the top of the specific org file, all you have to do, you have to mention the you need to give a title to the channel you are trying to fetch the content. Then there is a header section which have a var variable which is having a YouTube URL. The URL should be pointing to the YouTube channel content. As you can see, my cursor is hovering. You need to provide the YouTube channel URL here. Then there is a source code block which is a shell type. Then you have to assign it async to true. Then the result has to be outputted list, and you have to mention the no web, which is the top code block, which contain the regex section to parse the YouTube URL to yes and wrap it up. This section has to be there in each of your content or specific channel content you want to fetch from YouTube. It is not complicated. It is easy. You just have to have two sections. Darn easy. This content where my cursor is hovering has to be in the file where you are trying to fetch the YouTube content. Period. This block. Okay? And you have to have YouTube DL and JQ binary pre-installed in your system. Clear? Okay. Now this section has to be there where you have to fetch the content. You can see these are pretty ordinary markdown related stuff or org related stuff. You have to provide the name, right? And then you have a header section, which is important because in the header section you declare a variable URL which take a value of the YouTube channel URL. You have to pause that to get the content of that particular YouTube channel. Okay? And then you have to have a source block which you said it should done async. That means it will go out in the wild or do it in the background, so it should not block your Emacs to do other thing. Okay? Then the result should be outputted in that particular buffer where you are in, okay, as a list. Then you have to mention or call up the top code, which we have mentioned no web block. It could whatever the name you have given that particular code block, that has to be called here with the affirmation like yes, and this has to be wrapped up. And importantly, look at this line. This no web block has to be put in a double angle bracket. You can see, you can see I have highlighted whether you can see it. This particular code block has to be inside a double angle bracket. Okay, so this is the mechanism. Once you have, just put your cursor on the header line. You can see my cursor is hovering header line, and just press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C. Once you press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C, it will prompt you on the bottom of the screen. As you saw in the video, you can scroll back and see. It will ask you for the confirmation yes or no, which you can automate if you are sure enough. But I haven't bothered to, so it will prompt me yes or no. If you say yes, it will do the thing. It will fetch the stuff from the YouTube and put it in a temporary file before it writing it back here in this part in the org file. Okay, so that's the purpose of async. So it will going to fetch the YouTube content. This is the query we made through we suppose every YouTube video URL has an ID value and a title. We are parsing those two values, and this is reflecting here. These hyperlink text get enlisted once you type Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C. The output result you can see, right? And if you press enter, it will go out and play the video in your favorite or in your default video editor. So you don't have to go to, in my case I use MPV. So if I press enter here, it will going to open MPV with that. Let me show you if I can show you. If I press enter, look at, I just made look at the bottom of the screen. I echoed out a message called just a sec, video will be started, because I'm sitting on a slow machine, so it will take some time to pop up the MPV player to play this video. I'm showing it because so you can do it with your favorite player. If you are not using MPV or you are using something else to play the video content, you can do so. All I'm trying to say, once you save this thing, it's open up, right? So it's open up the video content and play it with MPV, right? Simple stuff. So I thought it's a bloody good handy mechanism to get your favorite YouTube channel video content without going to YouTube at all. It's a one-time job to fetch all the data with the piece of code, simple piece of this block. I'm telling again, this top block, this is what I'm highlighting. This top block, this code block has to be in the specific org file where you are planning to bring down the YouTube video content. Okay, so it is showing how it is going to do that. All right, and here is the header section, which will be pretty common to all the other channel you are trying to bring down to this particular org file. Okay, only thing you have to do, you have to change this URL variable to point to the YouTube video content URL, as you can see from the URL, right? So everything else in this section are pretty you need to give the name of that specific channel you are trying to fetch. So it will get outputted here in the results section, right? Once you have done this, I'm repeating the same thing. You need to do the Control-C. It will ask you for the prompt, and it will go to write in the temporary file, and then it ultimately write back here in the org file. So it create a hyperlink title. If you put your cursor and press enter, it will going to open the default video editor in your system to play the YouTube content. It's a super handy thing. I have been using it for quite some time, and I thought it will be a super useful to whoever wants to get that kind of convenience. It's a bloody good thing. If you get a chance, please try it yourself. So it will cut down the step to go to the. You need to go to the YouTube once on your browser just to fetch the. If you don't have any other mechanism to fetch the particular channel URL, that too can be done from the terminal or some other means, but I'm not going to overwhelm you with that detail. In this specific video, I'm trying to give you a simplest possible way which will help you to fetch the YouTube channel content right into your org file inside Emacs, and you can play the content with your favorite video editor. Okay, so I hope this will be useful to some people who are inclined to try this and use this